Hello, everyone. This is Gareth Robinson from Gareth on AI, and I'm here today to talk to you about Agentic AI. In one of my previous videos, I talked about generative AI, and tonight the topic is another AI system. And my goal is to try and explain it using this whiteboard here. So if we work left to right, let's just start with defining what we mean by agentic AI. Well, first of all, it's an advanced AI system, and you think of it as it's an actual doer. It gets stuff done. It's not just a helper. It acts autonomously to achieve a goal. So it's designed to produce a goal independently by deciding what action to take, in what order, and then adjusting based on what's going on. It adapts. But yeah, a good way to think of it is really a virtual employee, a really capable, intelligent, driven employee who never sleeps. That's a good way to think of it. And how does it differ from generative AI? Obviously, generative AI we've talked about a lot. It's used by lots and lots of people now. So you think of ChatGPT, think of Gemini, which you can use to create content, text, images, or code on demand. You've got obviously got DALL-E and Midjourney for images as well. It's good at you give it a command or a prompt, and it creates stuff for you, and then it waits for another command, another prompt, and it creates more stuff for you, and then you can have a dialogue with it. But the difference between generative and agentic AI is agentic is more of a manager. So think of it as, and it doesn't necessarily need as much supervision. It's very much empowered. It has agency, and you can give it set it a direction, give it some goals and some problems rather than just individual requests. So it's more like what I'd say a PM, a project manager, who breaks tasks into very manageable chunks, deals with them in an appropriate order, and get stuff done. A good real life example of it, I would say, is I'll use booking a holiday as an example and how you could use generative AI and how agentic AI would be different. So imagine you're looking to book a family trip to Florida. So you're looking to go in 2026 or 2027. You go to ChatGPT or Gemini and say, I'm looking to book a holiday for 2 weeks in Florida. My budget is 7,000. Provide me a list of places to visit, which are children friendly, places to stay, and flights from Bristol. What generative AI would then do? It would still be very useful, and I wouldn't be averse to using it. And in fact, I have used generative AI for helping me with booking holidays. It would give you lists of good places to visit, places to stay. It would say which places are children friendly. It might even give you like best times of year to go in terms of not being too hot. It would suggest destinations. It would give you some top line descriptions of hotels, perhaps sample flights, and things like pros and cons. So as I said, things like weather, maybe recommending February, which is better for children rather than height of August. What it won't do, however, is check real time prices. It won't compare lots of different options from Bristol. It won't book anything. It won't react if changes in the price point for bookings happen. It won't manage that whole process for you. It's still very much on you as the person to do the heavy lifting of booking the holiday. Whereas when it comes, if you move across to agentic AI, it would go way beyond just creating information. It would book the holiday for you. So, for example, it would break the goal into steps. It would look to book the flights, book the accommodation within your budget. It would also check transport connections. It would basically do the whole end to end process for you. It would even change locations. Say your budget was, you had a set budget for flights, it might recommend London, Heathrow, or Gatwick if they've got a far lower price. It would adapt. So going back to column one there, where it executes but also adapts, it adapts based on changes in price point if you've specified that. What's also really good about it from an organizational point of view, assuming you've got your system set up, it can add a calendar event and itineraries to your diary. So imagine you've got Google Calendar, which is something that's very popular for people. You could add in when you're going to Legoland, when you're going to Universal Studios, when your flights are arriving, where do you pick up your hire car? It's basically a travel agent. Think of it as a personal travel agent who doesn't get tired and adapts with changes in information. So it's going to be really helping with things like productivity. And then so that's a real life example of booking a holiday. Another real life example could be in your workplace, whether it's running your own little business or working in a marketing department. So um, Multibot was called Claudebot. They've just changed the name to Multibot. This has been in the news. So this is January 2026. And Multibot is really hitting the AI headlines at the moment. It's a very exciting piece of software, very exciting development. And it gives Agentic AI to a lot more people rather than being you have to buy a very expensive enterprise level Agentic AI. But for example, with the workplace, imagine I work for a company that sells certain widgets. You could ask it to track the website updates of the widget competitors. You could ask it to do a weekly digest of any news articles about the widget competitors and send those to you. You could even ask it to draft newsletters. So, say for example, there's hot topics for the widget industry that you're in. You can ask it to draft newsletters and send those to you every Wednesday in readiness for when you send your Friday newsletters out. You could also get it to create a content calendar for you. So you could really bake it into your workflows, and this would all happen independently of you. So it's working unsupervised. So there's so many uses of it in a marketing capacity. Um, I do think it's going to really change the way a lot of people work once it becomes much more established. So yeah, those are my examples of agentic versus generative. And if you've got any questions, drop me a line. Thank you.